Well, you made it. It is 2021. We're sitting here on the other side of 2020, and we're now in the best time of the year, right? The first time of the year. This is the time of year where everybody starts to think differently. This is the time of year where people's mindsets begin to be open, to begin to be alive, and to really think of possibilities. And maybe you got out of 2020, right? Maybe you crawled out of 2020. Maybe it was like a dumpster fire for you, or maybe it was something better. Maybe 2020 gave you something something that pushed you, something that made you better than what you were, something that pushed you into simplicity, removed complexity, and grew your business. But many people have had trouble through 2020, whether it was to be the socially distanced or socially isolated stuff, or whether it be just one thing after another that led to another, and that you were just hoping to cross the finish line of 2020. Well, guess what? It is January 1st. We are crossed that line. It is 2021. You're here with Jim at the Everyday Leader Live. We're so grateful to have you here. As you guys pop on, hit me up in the comments. Let me know where you're at. Let me know who we're having conversations with, because I want to continue a conversation. And today on the Everyday Leader Live, I am actually going to be sharing with you, when I get this working, sharing with you guys 5 things you need in order to win 2021. 5 things you need to win in order to win 2021. Because the first thing we want to understand is that 2020 was one thing, 2021 is another thing. And we want to make sure that what we're doing here in 2021 is going to be a winner. Like, you don't want, like right now, you're at this place in your life, you're at this place in this mindset where you're like, man, it's the first of the year. Man, this is awesome. Man, we're going to have so many great opportunities, right? We're going to get out there and we're going to lose 48,000 pounds and we're going to burn 58 million calories and we're going to do the thing, right? But what happens when all of that wears off? What happens when the thing that you wanted to do, the thing that you were like, yo, I'm going to do this, begins to be like January 28th, and they did a scientific study where at around January 28th, that wears off, and now the goals and the resolutions that you've set are no longer a thing? So what about that, guys? So I want to give you 5 things today in order to be able to help you win 2021. And I already got love it. So you guys coming in, thank you for hanging out with me and shit. Like, I already love it. I already got people declaring I'm going to win over there on Facebook. Darren, good to see you. Welcome to the show. And all you other guys who are here watching live, let's just jump into this. I want to give you several things here on how to win 2021. And the first thing that we want to do is we're going to pull up this little slide. I'm still learning this Restream, which is really, really an awesome thing. But here we go, guys. Are we ready to jump in this? Let's do this. So first thing that we want to do is we want to stop playing with the things. There we go. It's all the things when you're learning new systems, right? It's all the things. But the first thing you want to do is leave the baggage. Leave the baggage where the baggage meant to left, right? There are many things that you and I have brought with us from previous years, right? And this is the year that we're going to say it is time to leave old things behind. It is time to leave the things that have been holding you back, holding you down. It is time to leave those behind, right? You do not need to carry dead weight anymore. You and I want to fly, right? Is that something? Like, in the comments, let me know. Do you want to fly in 2021? Will you want to really take off? Is this your year that you're going to be the one where he says, hey, listen, I'm going to make this amount of money. I'm going to have this relationship. Is this your year, guys? Share that with me. I want to hear that. I want to celebrate the excitement of that. But if we're going to do that, we need to leave the baggage behind, right? And what am I talking about, baggage? What is those type of things? Well, guys, what about the people that are dead weight in our lives? Now, I don't like saying things like that, because you're like, well, it's people and we love people and I love people more than most, right? I love people, but there are some people in your life that has held you back, whether they're too critical, whether they're just too toxic, and it's time to bring distance, right? It's time to forgive what hasn't been forgiven. It's time to break off what hasn't been broken off, and it's time to say, you know what? I have the best year ahead of me, and I'm not going to repeat it from what happened last year. And in order to have the best year ahead of me, I've got to lose some rocks. I've got to lose some things, right? Back in the old shows, right? those things where they, you know, the old gangster shows, Goodfellas and all those things. Tell me I'm not the only one who used to watch some of that stuff. And when you get into those things, what did they do? They say, yo, man, they just swim with the fishes, right? And they would put, you know, concrete blocks on your feet, and then they would throw you down. Why? Because the weight of the concrete would cause you not to be able to swim, right? And if you are somebody who are going to be swimming in 2021, if you're going to be someone who is going to be flying in 2021, you can't do it with dead weight. You can't do it holding on to old things. It's 2021, guys. And I want to tell you, it's time to break the concrete. It's time to leave the baggage. So the questions I begin to ask, the things I begin to get in there, and I get to say, and I say, who do I need to forgive? Who do I need to make right with relationship? Who do I need to make sure that's in my life? Who do I need to make sure that I maybe distance because that maybe their influence was too great on you and you weren't able to accomplish all that you meant to accomplish because their influence was too great on you? Maybe you've been carrying something that somebody did to you 20 years ago, and you're sitting there saying, man, this person, I still hate this person. It's time to let those things go. It's time to walk in forgiveness, guys. It's time to walk in love. It's hard to fly in a hot air balloon when all the air in the hot air balloon is cold, right? That cold air does not let you fly. And all the things that we hold on to, all the things that were in there is cold air, guys. Everything that we're trying to bring up, like trying to move forward in our lives, we can't move forward holding on to old things. I believe it was one of my friends, and he's actually was on the stream. He actually said, and I believe it was him who preached it one time in a message, and my buddy Brian Burgess there, and he said one time was, you can't move forward while looking into the rearview mirror. And I remember that. I love when that was said, because guys, if you're driving a car, we can't continually move forward just watching the rear view. Why? Because we're going to get into an accident. We're going to have things that happen that causes us to fall, that are going to cause us to fall back, right? But we don't want to fall back. We want to move forward. We want to get into these places where you and I are doing the thing. You and I are doing what we were created to do. And you and I can't do that if we're always at a place where we're holding on to things, trying to move forward. It just comes down to that, guys. And I want to share with you, like, just think about this. Let me pull this up for you. So it's about leaving the baggage, right? I'm still learning the system, so it's really, really fun. Hey, Natalie, good to see you here. Good to see you. So, here we go. This is the one I want. You know, you got to love this, guys. So here's what we do. Listen, it's time to move on, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to move on to these things where we've been held back by so many different stuff. We've been held back, and it's time to move on. I don't know if anybody's had those moments to where they've said that to you, right? I don't know if anybody has ever had those conversations. And if you and I were sitting here and we were in a coaching situation, if you hired me to coach you, to develop you not only as a leader, but just as an amazing human being, one of the things we would talk about is what is holding you back from moving forward. And I'm going to declare over you, and I'm going to say to you, man, this is the time to say, you know what? That doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve my purpose. It doesn't serve what God is doing in my life. So it's time to move forward. It's time to move on. It's time to forgive. You know, I was once told that forgiveness doesn't hurt anybody but you when you withhold forgiveness. So like if somebody hurts you, they're not losing sleep, right? Think about that. They're holding you hostage because you won't forgive them, and they don't care whether you forgive them or not. It's time to forgive and move on, and it's time to let go. Guys, the first thing in here is the number one thing when you want to win 5 things that are going to move you forward and win 2021 is leave the baggage. That was number 1. Leave the baggage in 2020. Don't bring 2020's baggage. Matter of fact, don't bring 2018 baggage in here, right? Some of you guys are holding on baggage that you've held on for 40 years. It's time to let that go. It's time to get to a place where you and I understand that we're not moving forward with any baggage, right? No more baggage. Say that in the comments, man. No more baggage. No more baggage. I just want to recognize some people here, like say hello. And remember, if you guys are with me and you're streaming live, I just want to welcome you to the show, guys. Thank you for joining me at the Everyday Leader Live. I do this every Friday at 5. I'm going to say hey to Natalie. Natalie, so good to see you. We got my brother, He said, leaving the baggage behind in 2021, man. That's what it's all about. Good to see you as well. Darren calling it out from, Dallas, Texas. Dallas in the house. I'm here in sunny Florida, but there's no more baggage, guys. No more baggage bringing forward. Are you ready for number 2? Here's what we're doing with number 2. The second thing is guess what, guys? In 2021, if you are going to be somebody who is looking to be successful, if you want this to be your year, and you don't want this year to be another vision board year where you make a vision board and it collects dust, and you want it to be a vision board year that you do something, then you and we want to collect and develop key relationships. I did a video on this channel not too long ago. It's the 5 people you need. If you haven't checked it out, I'm going to encourage you to check my channel out and go check that video out. And the 5 people you need are key relationships in your life. And some of those is a straight shooter. Some of those is going to be somebody who is going to be able to tell you truth. You need somebody to tell you truth in life. Somebody is going to need to be an encourager in your life to say, man, you're doing great, but we can do further, but you're doing great. We need an accountability partner, right? There are key relationships in our lives that each of us need. And if we're not developing them, then we're going to be losing out. Because I think the key to 2021, what was taught to us in 2020, what was brought forth to us, I mean, think about this. What did 2020 really teach us? It taught us that we didn't need everything but the relationships in our lives. Our mental health was dependent upon those key relationships in our lives. Our sanity in 2020 was about relationships, right? But when everything was stripped away, when lockdowns happened, when things happened like that, right? What happened? Everybody went back to what was core. That was relationships. Man, I'm going to tell you something. In 2020, I saw people doing so much on self-development. That relationship with self was an amazing explosion. The health movement where everybody was out, and we were in lockdowns here in Florida, right, for a while, but people were out, husband and wife, kids were out walking for the first time in God knows how long, right? God knows how long it has been since people have connected to relationships. And if you're going to win in 2021, we need to take what was started in 2020, even if it was started by accident. Nobody expected that to happen. But we need to take that. We need to drive that deeper. We need to bring that to a place that we're saying, the key relationships in our lives, because guess what, guys? We are only going to be as successful as those that we put around us. If you are not successful, look at your inner circle. If Aunt Bertha is in your inner circle and all Aunt Bertha likes to do is gossip, you don't need a gossip in your inner circle. Move Auntie Bertha out to your acquaintance or the outer circle and pull somebody in your inner circle that's going to challenge you, that's going to push you, that's going to motivate you, that's going to move you forward. Because guess what, guys? In 2021, we want to move forward. We want what's great. We want what's beautiful. We want what's supposedly what we deserve, right? We have this understanding that we were created for a purpose. We were created to do a thing, and you were never created to be alone. This is not the Lone Ranger. This is a conglomeration of people coming together to do the thing. And if we lean into relationships, not only are you going to be emotionally healthy, mentally healthy, but guess what? You are actually going to be financially healthy because your business will be pushing forward. Everything else about you, leadership will be pushing forward. The home will be healthier. And it just makes sense, right? But what do we usually do? We put relationships secondary. We put relationships as a secondary piece, and we put stuff as a first piece, right? It's time to flip that. And I'm just making that prediction for 2021, that if you want the best year that you've ever had, if you want the best year that you're going to have since to date, then 2021 needs to be about key relationships. And Coach Dyer here, welcome to the show, man. He says, develop key relationships and don't forget to love people, man. Loving people is the core of everything we do. And we often forget that focus on relationship building, we leave behind some bonds which could have been equally good for us. Yeah, I mean, I am totally in agreement with that because there are key relationships back from 2020, 2018, 2019 that we should have developed and we never did because there was a focus that we never had. But now we're in a different time. We're in a different season. And in this season, we're going to focus on relationships, guys. We're going to focus on the things that are going to make us successful. And life is about relationships. Life comes down to be about relationships, guys. Let me say this as we go on to number 3. Before we go on to number 3, this is the Everyday Leader Live. This we do on this channel. If you're not subscribed to this channel, I would highly recommend that you just hit subscribe and then the little notification, little bell. So go ding, ding. And every time I go live or a new video happens up, you get notified. Love to have you part of the community as we grow this show, because I only hope to make you a leader worth following. And guess what, guys? As we're doing this show, this is your opportunity. If you have any questions, I do have a link in the bio that you can ask a question if you're not comfortable asking it in the chat room. But other than that, if you have any questions, shoot them down. Let's talk about this live, and I will make sure that I do my best to answer them this show. If I can't answer them this show, I will answer them at some point. So here we go. You ready for number 3? Let's get into number 3. Number 3 is this. So we are going to throat punch fear, and launch that thing, guys. Let's throat punch fear and launch that thing. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. We are at a place in our lives. If you're going to be successful in 2021, if you're going to be at a place where you want to do and have the best year of your life, then we need to do some throat punching. Fear has kept you from launching. Fear has kept that book from being published. Fear has kept that thing from being able to be put out there in the world, whether it's to start that business, write that book, go to that church, hang out with that person, whatever that thing is. Fear has kept you back. Why? It shows up in perfectionism. It shows up in all sorts of different ways, but mainly it shows up when we don't launch the thing. And if fear is going to drive us, if fear is going to push us forward, then guess what the problem with that is? There are people right now waiting for you to show up, waiting, right? For you to be there, and you're not there. And let me say this, and this is out of love, because somebody said this to me. If you don't show up, if you're not there, how selfish are you? How selfish are we when we don't show up? It's part of the reason why I started this show. My coach, Owen Video, and he's got a great and amazing channel. He does videos on live streaming and all that, but he's a personal coach in my life. He said that to me one day. He said, Jim, he said, you need to start a live show. And I said, okay. And he said, if you don't show up, think about the people who are not going to have their breakthrough because you didn't show up. And remember, this isn't about me and everything about me. This is about you. Who is out there that's going to hear my words and say, man, I need to do this thing and get out there and actually do the thing I was always meant to do. Because I'm going to tell you, here's the key, man. As a person who loves community, as a person who loves people, who's in a Bible-believing community, guess what? People are always going to be the thing that unlocks your potential, right? And if people unlock my potential, if I don't punch fear in the face, if I don't get to this place where I'm showing up regularly, then guess what happens? I don't unlock the people that I'm meant to touch, the people that I'm meant to help. I don't unlock their potential because I never showed up. Do they still have an opportunity to get that? Yes. But guess what? You are invited into a great story. You are invited into a place where your life can mean and have significance. And I think that's what everybody is crying out for. What is this significance? That, what we want significance. We're crying out for it. But if you don't show up, how are you ever going to find it? Because you find significance in the people that you help, not in the things that you do, right? Because here's the thing. I could help you by giving the knowledge and the stuff that I've gained over the last 20 years by doing this, and that could bring your breakthrough. Or I could sit there and I can bring and serve you a meal. How I help, how I show up isn't as important as me showing up. And there has to be a place, guys, where you show up imperfect, where you launch that thing and you're like, dude, I'm just going to do this and we're just going to make this up as we go, right? Because you don't need to have it all figured out. Listen, I started this show about 2 months ago, right? But I started it on a conference call. Where people literally had to call. They had to pull in their phones and they had to call in the conference. And I was like, all right. And we called it the Leadership Moments. And we had some great conversations for that month, right? Until somebody who was close to me, again, it's all about people showing up and about punching fear in the face, right? Somebody said, hey, listen, you need to be on camera. He's like, being behind a phone isn't for you. And if it's not, and you need to be on camera, get out there and do it. I was like, well, I don't know. And my coach, Owen, was like, yo, he says, you need to be out there. And so we'll just figure this out as we go. So you know what I did? I said, okay, fine. 3 weeks ago, I started a show. The first show was a little rough. The second show was a little better. The third show was a little better. Here we are in week 4, and guess what? It's New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's. Welcome to the show. And I'm finding my voice, and I'm finding my own. Why? Because I launched imperfectly, and I'm going to get better. And all you have to do, let me give you this, guys. All you have to do is get 1% better every time. That's it. You don't have to be 100% better every time. You don't have to be this person who tries to outdo themselves every single time. No, you just have to get 1% better. That's all you need. So every week I find something new that gets me to be a little bit better. Last week I couldn't figure out how to get my face further on the screen. This week, guess what? I found an app that fixes my camera, that gets me closer on the screen. You don't see the 50 feet above my head. You get 1% better, guys. What is the thing in your life right now? Like, let me know in the comments. What have you not launched that you said I should have launched a while ago? Or what are you looking to launch this year? Is it a book? Is it a business? What do you want to launch? What is the thing? Put that in the comments. Let me hear some of the things that you guys want to launch that you said it's just beyond time. I should have launched this a while ago, but I was too afraid. Well, guess what, guys? It's time to stop living in your fear. It's time to get into a place where you and I punch fear in the face, right? And we launch the thing that we were meant to launch. That we no longer hold ourselves back. That we no longer sit there and say, hey, I need to get out there and I just need to do it. I don't need to have this all figured out. I don't need to have this to a place where you and I are just like perfect, right? We just need to get it out there and get it done. And so some of the things is like, so Natalie says she wants to launch her program. I think that's a beautiful thing. Let's get it launched. You know, Coach Dyer, man, blog, man, let's get that thing up and like get that launched. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to figure everything out. You just get it out there because people are waiting for you to show up. And, you know, again, even with, you know, Coach Hot or Natalie, again, the same thing. She wants to do some emails. Listen. What is the excuses that's holding you back from doing them? What excuses have been your thing, your go-to that said, hey, I blah, 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 vomit excuse, didn't do the thing, so therefore I'm unfulfilled and frustrated. What is that thing? Well, in 2021, kill the excuses, punch fear in the throat, and say it is high time that I just do the thing that I'm supposed to do. Right? And if you get out there and you do the thing, you're going to do it imperfectly. It's going to be imperfect, guys. I want to tell you that. If you ever launch anything that's perfect, then it's going to be a problem because you have no room for growth if it's perfect. If you have no room for growth, then how do people grow with you? So launch it imperfectly and then grow with it. Nobody says you can't launch version 2.0. Nobody said, listen, when I first launched this channel 2 years ago, those videos, the content was good, but the videos sucked. Then I died. I said, I'm not going to do it because I'm afraid. So I stopped doing it for a year, 2 years. Then I hired a coach, and I have God sitting there putting on my heart saying, do a YouTube channel. I hired a coach for a YouTube channel. Here I am, YouTube channel. And I'm doing it regularly now. And think about this. If you still have fear, have the courage. Courage is doing the thing in the face of fear. But stop thinking about you. Stop thinking about, like, let's stop thinking about each other and sit there and say, hey, who is waiting for this? Who is on the other side of this? When I hit publish, when I hit go live, when I hit, live on my program, my blog or whatever, who is on the other side of it that's going to read this, that's going to have that breakthrough? Because all you need is one person to have one breakthrough and it's all worth it. All worth it. And I like what Coach Dyer said here. We're going to pull this up. Excuses. I'm not good enough, or I don't know what God expects me to do with a dark room. You know what? That's such a great and honest thing, man. And I absolutely love the vulnerability and the honesty of that. Let me speak to two things here. And this is why I do this show, to add value. Let me speak to two things. The I'm not good enough thing. There's a thing that I do with people over the years, and this is what I ask people often. And I say, explain what good enough looks like. Define what that looks like for you. Most people can't. They don't know what enough is. So The problem with that is we use subjective things in order to evaluate an objective thing, because we don't know what enough is. What really is enough? And we don't have that. We don't know. And if we can remove from enough and say, you know what, it's not about being good enough. It's about saying, okay, what are the markers that says if I do this, I win? Like maybe it's if I launch my blog, I win. If I launch the thing, I win. If I get one person to read this blog, I win. Right? When I start doing that, it becomes less about being good enough, because enough is an arbitrary thing that you will never find. You will never be good enough, because enough cannot be described. It cannot be explained, and it will not come to pass because we don't know how to define enough. So if I move it to more objective, more hardcore tones and times and things, and I sit there and I say, if I can do this, this, and this, then guess what? I was successful. But most times, people can't define success in their lives. People can't define what that thing looks like as a win. So if we can define a win, we win, right? And the other thing is that one of the other things that you mentioned there, Coach, was that you feel like you don't know what God expects of me. Well, I'm going to tell you the two things that when I read the Bible tells me two things. Number one, God expects us to show up, and God expects us to be available, right? Those are the two primary things that I know that the Bible teaches us on what we're expected. And if those are the two primary things, then all I need to do is show up and I just be available and just be open. So I'm going to chart a course and I'm going to move forward because I know this is what God said in my life. And we're just going to follow his leading as I go. Many times we wait for what to do before we do it, but he says, do it, and I'll show you the way to go as you do it. And I believe that's the difference. And if Christians would just begin to shift the mindset over and say, God, we're partnering, we're going together in this, that I think faith would grow. I think the courage would grow. And I think that the things that we're called to would be launched more often, because now we're not waiting as much as we are saying, you know what, I'm going to have an active faith and I'm going to move forward with you, and you just lead, guide, and direct me in the way I need to go if I'm going in the wrong direction. And that's how I look at those things, man. That was an awesome comment. Let's look at some more comments here. So Natalie here, so her excuses: depression, lack of time, scheduling, not sure the path God is trying to guide me on. Hey, listen, like I just said with Coach Dyer there, God just sometimes you got to go out there and just take that leap of faith, and God shows you on the way down. Okay, it's not a question of having it all figured out then move. It's a question of I have God in my life and I'm going to move as I go. Okay. The second part of that is depression is one of those challenging times. My wife is diagnosed with one of her mental illnesses is that there. And I'm going to tell you what that, you can't control when you're depressed and you can't control when you're not. However, what you can do as an individual is, and you're going to win 2021, is define what your ups and downs look like. Your ups and downs are not going to look like mine because I don't struggle with depression. So you need to understand, okay, this is what my midpoint is. This is when I'm really depressed, and this is when I'm actually in a good place. And at each place, you say, what are the things I'm going to do to be able to say, all right, I'm going to move forward, and give yourself grace when you can't. So if you're at a depressed time, you can't do nothing. Become a burrito with your blankets, move forward, and then just do the thing, right? If you're in a great place, get what you can get done, and then go from there. Lack of time, I'm going to tell you, there's no such thing as lack of time. It's called lack of priority. It's a lack of priority. We do the things we prioritize, guys. If you have these places where you are not doing the thing and you say, oh, I don't have enough time, that is not true. You have all the time in the world. Guess what? Billionaires, millionaires, six-figure earners, people of all ages, types, and sizes all have the time. Everybody has the time. The difference is they know how to prioritize that time. We all have the same 24 hours a day. We all have the same time. Guess what? What you do with that time and how you leverage it is determining your success from your failures. So just declare the win. Get to the place where you're like, yo, this is what winning looks like for me, and begin to jump into that. So let's look at this. We have Batista. I don't want to say your name wrong on the first one. Guillerme? Is that how you say that? If I said that wrong, I am so sorry if I said Guillerme wrong, but I love your name. And so here's this head there. This is Gui. I can do Gui from Brazil. You have no idea how much your videos help me in learning with English. Well, hey, man, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to help you in any way that I can. Thank you for coming on the show. So remember to subscribe, hit the bell so you know when all my videos come live. And I do this live every week at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. There it is. So let's go back here. A couple more comments, and we're going to go to number 4. I like that last piece. Do it, and it will show it as you do it. Absolutely, my brother. Absolutely. So hola there, Sadie. Let's give a holler out to Sadie over there at Warrior Nation. One of my close friends. If you don't know her, please follow her. She's an amazing coach, an amazing chef. Apparently, she just opened a barista down there in Mexico, and so make sure you follow her channel as well. So let's get into number 4. And I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Number 4. So number 4 on the list here, and there we go. Loving this system. All right, get real specific on goals. Guess what? Look at what we just talked about, guys. You were leading me in the direction of number 4. All those little comments that we just talked about led to this place. All right, I'm going to tell you real quick why your vision board doesn't work, why you should have a vision board, but why it doesn't work. Now, I'm a huge visual guy, and I think you should have a visual representation because I think that having a visual of saying this is what I want is a beautiful thing because it always reminds you of where you want to go, right? It always reminds you of where you want to go. So having a vision board is a beautiful thing, and you should have one. So I'm not anti-vision board. What I am anti of is I created a vision board, now I'm doing nothing with it. It's a pretty wall hanger, right? You don't need another wall hanger. You need a life that matters. You need a life of significance. And if what's on that vision board is something that's going to create significance or create the life where you show up and people's lives are changed, then it needs to come off the wall and into your hearts. It needs to be able to be put into practice. So how do we do that? We get real specific on our goals. We get really specific on our goals, right? And here's what I'm going to share with you. Think about a goal. So maybe you're here listening to me, you're a leader who is trying to earn 6 figures in their business, right? Maybe you're just started a business, maybe you're leading at a church or whatever, but you're somebody who, let's just stick with the 6 figures and I'll go into the home life. I'll do two examples here for you. You're a 6-figure person, right? You want to be 6 figures, but you haven't made 6 figures yet. What would those things look like, right? What would the decisions you make at 6 figures be the decisions you make that you aren't making right now? Who would you be? What kind of person would you be? Maybe you already make 6 figures and you want to make 7. Who are you at that level? Whatever level that is, who are you and what decisions are you making at that level? And if you're not at that level, you have to begin to make those decisions today, right? So I'm going to tell you, 6 and 7-figure version of you would not make the same stupid decisions that you're making right now. Because why? Because we make decisions based on fear, based on what we have, not where we're going, right? If you base your decisions on what you have and where you're at, guess what? There's no room for growth. There's no hope, right? Because a lot of people are like, man, this is like a rough year. And you base your decisions on who you're going to become. What are you going to become? And then you begin to decide on making those decisions today, right? So that way you can be molded into the person you need to be in order to get to that place, because you have to be before you can have. You can't do and have. You have to be first. Be, do, have. That's what it says in Genesis. Be, do, have. Be the person, do the thing, and you can have the thing come in your life. You want 6 figures? Be a person who earns 6 figures right now, even if you don't earn 6 figures. Do the things that 6-figure earner would do right now, even though you don't earn 6 figures. And guess what? When you're that person, you're making those decisions and you're doing those actions, 6 figures is right around the corner, and boom, you will get what you need to get. End of story, guys. Here's the other thing. I told you I'd give you a second example. Maybe you're not in business. Maybe you're a leader and you're looking to grow your church or grow your home, man. Fathers, if you're active in your homeland, I salute you. I honor you. We're in a fatherless generation. If you're a father who's here, man, I want to pour in life into you doing these things so you can be the father that you were always meant to be, the leader that you were worth following, right? Because we're living in a generation where fathers are absent. And I don't want that for you. And you're here because you're like, man, I want to learn. So what does that look like? So I would say to you is sit down and say, okay, here's who I am right now as a father. And how do I be a better father? Maybe even moms. Moms, if you're listening to this would be applicable to you too. Maybe if I want to be a better this, what does that person look like? Maybe that person stops working at 5 o'clock and spends more time with their kids. Maybe that person says, okay, I'm going to be able to be more present when I'm present, but when I'm working, I'm working. You know, what does that look like? And then you start making those decisions because you're going to be that person by making those decisions, and eventually you'll have the things that you're building. So it's be, do, have, guys. It's be the person, do the thing, and make the decisions, right? Whatever that looks like, because it all comes down is about being specific in what you're doing. Don't let your vision board be another wall hanger. Look on that vision board. If you want to travel, where do you want to travel? Pick a place and then reverse engineer it. And I believe Coach Dyer there said one of the things up there is begin with the end in mind. Habit number 2, work with the end in mind. And that was Stephen Covey wrote a book on the 8 habits. Habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. Yeah, absolutely. So you reverse engineer it, right? You get to a place where you're saying, what do I need to do? Where do I need to go? And who do I need to become to do the thing that I want and have the things that I want? And then you do it. Then you start doing it step by step, because you're going to be very, very specific in your goals. Because here's what I know, guys. Here's what I know. Here's what people don't realize. We have goals, and we have no idea if we hit the goals because we never defined them. So if you and I can get to a place where we define the goals, you'll know when you hit them every time. So be specific. How can God give you anything in life if all your prayers is just simply, God bless me? Well, God's already blessed you. Right? What if you want something more specific? How do you know he's going to answer if you didn't get specific in it? What if you're supposed to be an 8, 9, 10 figure earner, but you've never actually wrote down what that looks like? How would you know? Get to the places where you're super specific on your goals. The more specific you can be, the more likely your goal is to be achieved. The more specific you are, the more likely your goal is achieved. Why? Because now you have a direction, you have a vision, and now you have the steps, because I know exactly what needs to happen to become the person I need to be, to carry the things I need to carry, and get the things that I had in mind. It comes down to getting really specific on our goals. Guys, let me just tell you as a reminder, if you're over there on Facebook, Party's over here on YouTube, would love to have you guys over. Remember, hit the subscribe button there for me. Let's take this one off. See, like I said, launch it imperfectly, grow as you go. Let's see, so just hit the subscribe, bells for notification. I do go live every week, and I do upload photos. No, I upload new videos. And I do want to say this, guys, if there's ever a video or a live that you would love to have a question answer, or even a live where our session is around a subject that you're really passionate or want to learn more about, please do me a favor and make sure that you hit the link in the comments where it says there's a form, or drop it in the chat. And as I see it in the chat, I'll be able to say, hey, maybe I can do a show around this, or maybe I can have you come on and we can have a wrap session about what that looks like. Because I am here for you, and I want to make sure that you have your questions answered, because this is the Everyday Leader Live, and my heart is to make sure that you are getting that leadership poured into you so that you become a leader worth following. That is the whole mission of this channel, is to become a leader worth following, guys. Because I know if you become a leader worth following, guess what? You get more income, influence, and impact, right? All those 3 I's. Everything everybody says, income, influence, and impact. I said them in reverse for some reason, and I don't know why. Let's flip that around. Influence, impact, and income. Because you'll gain influence, because the key to leadership is influence. You'll gain impact, because when you influence somebody, you can change their lives. And value is always preceding income. People pay for value. So when you become a leader worth following, the 3 I's follow you. So let's go ahead and jump into number 5 as we wind down that. And remember, guys, as we move forward, if you have any questions, you can drop those in the comments. You can let's hit it up, things like that. Because I'm here to answer your questions and interact and have a good time with the community that I'm building, because I love you, each and every one of you. I'm here to answer you live on YouTube. All right, so 3 I's. Yes, the 3 I's there. Sadie says the 3 I's. Yes. And I appreciate you saying great live today. Appreciate you being live with me. Remember, go check her out. Go check her channel out. And here we go. So the last one is develop a winner's mindset, guys. So the thing is with a winner's mindset, most people, this is one of the hardest places to actually be, because your mindset is what determines your success. You can't create a winning life with a bad mindset. You really can't. If you have a defeated mindset, how can you be a winner, declare a winner, if you're always defeated? If you're always sitting there like, yo, and you're the guy up front or the girl up front, you're like, yo, I'm a winner, I'm a winner, I'm a winner, but you go home and say I'm just nothing and I'm nobody and nobody's ever gonna watch my stuff and nobody's gonna like me and everything's just blah blah blah. You know, those excuses we talked about earlier in the show. Well, guess what? How do you develop that, right? Like you can't move forward with that. So it's time to let that go. It's time to get to a place where we work on us. If 2021 is going to be successful, guys, this comes down to a place where we have to begin to work on our mindsets. Our mindsets are pivotal to the success of everything that we do, guys. Everything. And if you want to raise in your level of your altitude, then you've got to come up in the level of your mindset. Now, I'm not this guy that says, you know, if you think positively, life is better. That's not how this works. And a lot of those gurus out there will tell you, if you just change your thoughts, you'll change your life. Well, that's partially true, but what they don't tell you is it's hard to do. Right? I'm just going to keep it real. Like on this channel, we just keep it real, guys. I'm not going to be one of these guys who tells you like this is going to be easy, because it's not. But it's never going to happen if you never start. So if 2021 and beyond is going to be a winning thing for you, then we've got to come to the place where we start winning. How do we start winning? We start by developing a mindset that wins, right? And to do that, we've got to find lies. What lies do you believe? These are some places that you really got to come into. What lies do you believe? What stories are you telling yourself? What things are you believing about yourself? And I'm going to pull this question up because this is actually goes very, very much into things. And what Sadie just asked was, how do we test our mindsets? How do I know where I am? Man, that's a great question. Let's just talk about that and unpack that for a minute, because how do I know? How do I test my mindset? How do I know where it's at? There's a couple ways to do this. And I think one of the first ways to do this is simply coming to a place where you say, listen to the stories that you say. When you do something that isn't perfect or you do something that isn't right, what is the first thing out of your mouth? Is the first thing out of your mouth saying like, man, I can get better at that. I can learn from this. Or is the first thing out of your mouth saying, man, I'm just so stupid. I should have never did that. If the first thing out of your mouth is negative, therefore your mindset is not as healthy as you think it is, right? Because here's what it is. In leadership, every problem is just an opportunity in disguise. And you teach yourself that what I say about it is how I approach it. So if I say negative things and my story is negative within myself, then I'm going to approach it from a negative place. So I can't win a situation from a negative place. So I look at my story. What are the things I say to myself? Then here's the second thing I would say to you, Sadie, and to all those that are listening. Ask really, like number 2, I believe it was, you know, build key relationships. Get those key relationships and give them permission to say hard things to you. Like have this side conversation and say, if I say X, Y, and Z, call me out on it, right? Have 1 or 2 people in your life that can call you out and say, hey, the way you're thinking is a bad mindset. It's not the way you should be thinking. Give them the utmost permission to call you out. Because again, we're in the game of life, and life was never meant to do alone. So therefore, it's a team sport. So you're not going to always have the total vision. Most times you're blind to some things. So it's inviting people in and saying, guess what? Hey guy, hey girl, I'm going to give you permission. Here's what I need. If I say something negative or it comes out as a bad thing, call me on it. And then give them the parameters on how to call you, right? Because some people are like, yo, call me on it. And they're like, dude, you were a jerk there. No, you don't want that. Give them the right parameters with the right permission to call you out on the things that you say. So it's going to be internal evaluation. You know, that metacognition. I'm thinking about my thinking. I'm thinking about my story that I'm saying. I'm being very, very, aware of that. And then I'm giving people permission to speak that to me, to speak over my life, to be able to say, hey, your story is not aligning with your person. And that's really the top 2, I would say. Self-evaluation, giving permission to others, is to really kind of get to a place where you are able to test where you are. Now, how do you grow from there? How do you grow? This is where you want to ask yourself, and what we talked about earlier. Who are you, and who do you want to be? Like, who are you now, and who do you want to be? So where's the line? How far is that away? This is who I am. This is who I want to be. How far is that line? Because here's the deal. The shorter that line, The more mature you are and the better leader you are and the more aligned you are. The further that line is, the more you feel like an imposter, the more lack of confidence you have. Why? Because who I am and who I should be are not lining up. So I always live in the shadow of who I think I should be, and I'm never actually who I really am. And so I'm always living in that frustration. So what do? I put a mask on and I just pretend I'm somebody I'm not. So we come to a place and we start doing these like real tough places where we go, hey, I want to be this person. Then we ask that question, that real tough place, that question, how far have I fallen short from this? And then what do I need to do daily to help me grow to be that place? So if you want to be a more giving person, if that's your identity, like, listen, maybe you're not a giver, but you really desire to be a giver. What do you have to do today and every day to be living in that space? Maybe, and this is a mindset thing. Listen, it's a heart set and it's a mindset. People aren't givers because they think they can't give, or they don't have the funds, or they're afraid because they're afraid that everything's going to fall apart. Well, if you want to be generous, then you need to do things that are going to be tough. You need to ask tough questions, right? So the mindset, the heart, they change, but it takes time to do that. And then I do the steps little by little, one by one, to get to the places that are going to create the identity that I was always meant to live in. Because guess what? You're constantly becoming who you already meant to always were. Like in God's eyes, guys, you have a certain identity over you. And every day you live, you're constantly becoming who you already were, who you were always meant to be. But we have to do the hard things. We have to call that out. We have to begin to say, how short have I fallen? What is my story? What is my place? Where is that hurt, that trauma, that pain in my life? Why has that held me back for so long? And then in those places, you get the help you need, you take the steps you need, and you get out of your own way and you move forward. Because guys, it comes down to that number 5. It's that whole, you got to develop that winner's mindset. And what does a winner look like even? What does that even look like? Right? But here's the thing. Here, I've got something for you guys. If you guys are on anything, so let me put this in the little thing. I like my little thing here. If you aren't using Restream, I'll put a link in for Restream. I love Restream because you get to do fun things with this. So like, look, I just did this, so we're gonna do this. So let's do this. And I lost it. Anyway, so, oh no, here it is. Yeah. So if you go to bit.ly, and I put it in the comments, if you go to bit.ly, lead with Jim, and the J has to be capitalized. I don't know why I didn't capitalize the J, but if you go to lead with Jim at bit.ly, I have something for you. And it's actually my ebook called The Winner's Mindset. And what I'll do is I'll make sure that this gets into the chats with you. I think I can put this here. See, I'm learning as I go. So make sure you launch imperfectly and you move forward with it. There you go. There you go. It should show up for you guys. It's in the chat right now. Here's the deal. That ebook is totally on me. I wrote it. I'm going to give it to you on me because I care about you. What's in that ebook is 15 declarations, because not only do you have to discover it, but you have to begin to change your story, right? And the only way you change your story is you have things to declare. You declare truth. And in there, I wrote down 15 different things that you could begin to declare today, right? You could sit there and say, I am blah, I am this. Pick 2 or 3, maybe 4 at most, not all 15, unless you're an overachiever, but just pick 1, 2, 3, or 4, any one in there, and you spend the next month and you begin to declare, this is who I am. And you declare it over your life, right? Because now not only did you root the story out of number 5, right? When we get down to this thing, not only did you root the story out, but now you're actually coming to a place where you are now going to be talking about the story, a new place, and you're going to start declaring who you want to be. You're going to start declaring what that looks like. And I gave you 15 things in order to do that. The link is in the comment, bit.ly /lead with Jim, capital J. And it's the first thing there. It says, my gift to you. That is my gift to you because I want you to be somebody who has the mindset of a winner. I want you to own 2020. And just for getting that gift, I'm going to send you a second gift that I know, right? It's like Christmas all over again. I'm going to send you a second gift. And on that gift is going to be what I did about owning 2021. And it is all about goals and getting specific on goal setting. That's all that's going to be. So when you sign up, you'll actually get 2 things. You'll download the first thing when you sign up, but the second thing will come as an email. So I want to make sure that you guys get that. So there we go. As we end this show, I'm so grateful that you guys hung out with me for the while. If you have not had the opportunity to jump over to YouTube and like and subscribe and hit bell for notifications, it would mean the world to me for you to do that. I'm looking to grow this channel. Please share these posts. Invite other people if you found value in this. I do this every Friday at 5 p.m. without fail. Again, if you have any questions, any comments, any thoughts, please drop them in the comment section. I will make sure that we answer them on a show. Or if you don't want to drop them in the comments, in the description box, I have specifically a link that links you over to a Google Sheet that you can ask any question and make comments. And it's just between you and I, and nobody else in the world will see it but you and I. You can do it one way or another way. But the deal is guys, I want to hear from you. I love you. Comments, thank you so much. Like, subscribe, hit bell. This is Jim with the Everyday Leader, live every week, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard, same bat time, same bat channel. Guys,